Hello! Very recently I found this box of decorate your own ceramic Christmas ornaments in Target. I couldn't resist it, I just had to pick it up. And so today I thought I would get them all out and create something to hang on my tree. Let's get into it! I'm actually halfway through painting the Grinch, but it really needs to dry before I can add another layer, so I thought I might as well be productive and start my next video. In the meantime, I've been enjoying these golden open acrylics a lot, and so I thought I would incorporate these into here at some stage, because it does come with some metallic paint pens. As you can see, the designs are fairly plain and I want to go something a little more colourful. So I'm sure I'll use these in my decorations, but I am definitely going to use some acrylic paints as well. Let's get this box open and see what's in here. Pretty much everything that you could see through the window, so that's alright. Not too difficult. Oh, it's even got some string to tie the ornaments up with. That's always handy. If I could get these out whole without snapping any, that will be a Christmas miracle. Here's everything in the kit. I managed to get all of those out in one piece, so I'm very happy about that. Christmas miracle achieved. So I might just test the pens out to make sure they're working, and then we can go from there. The gold and the silver are definitely solvent based. I smelt one and yes, it's got a very pungent odour to it. But of course none of them are activated, so I've got a bit of cardboard here. I'll just use this to activate the pens. Ah, this is always so tedious. Oh look, that came through really fast. I take my words back. Okay, that's pretty shiny. I'm liking that. That's got some really great shine to it. Excellent. Right, gold one. Gold one's taking longer, of course. Oh yeah, that's so super gold and shiny. I like that too. Shiny, shiny. And a black one. It's getting there. That just takes ages to get it down to the nib. There we go. That's actually a really handy paint marker to have. I'm sure I'll be using these in the future just for other projects. But all three of those are really good. Maybe I could do one with just the paint markers, but I do want to paint these because it is raw clay. I assume it's not air dry clay. I'm hoping these have been fired. But anyway, I'm just going to paint straight onto them with the acrylic. I could cover them in gesso, but I am very tired still and I really can't be bothered, so I will come up with some ideas. I don't really know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to paint what I feel like doing at the time. And what I felt like painting was a galaxy. I'm so predictable sometimes. Well, most of the time, really. And I'm using the golden open acrylics. In hindsight, I probably could have just used faster drying acrylic paints, but these ones are so nice and they were already out on my desk. So in this case, the best art supply is the one closest to hand. I was actually filming and painting each decoration pretty much simultaneously, so I'd start one and set it aside to dry so I could work on another, but because that would be a lot of chaos to watch, I've actually just joined all clips together for each decoration, so it makes a lot more sense. But when I flip the star over in a moment, know that I did let it dry first before I did that. I'm not just flipping it over while it's wet because I would have made a horrendous mess. I already still got paint all over my desk, as you could probably see it's starting to happen here. So see if you could spot the changes in continuity as I move from one decoration to another. I'll show all of the finished decorations at the end once I have painted them all. So this first star is probably the most complex design that I picked for the day. It's not really looking much like a galaxy so far. I'm not going to tell you what I think it looks like, but you could probably guess there. So in order to hopefully fix it up, I pulled out some shiny paints. These are liquid pearls and they come in all sorts of different metallic colours. I think they're really great. And I found corresponding colours to paint over the top. They're quite translucent when you paint them out thinly, but it was just giving it a nice metallic sheen and smoothing the whole thing out so it did look a bit more like a gradient and a galaxy. It maybe didn't work quite as well as I wanted it to, but I just kind of persevered until I was happy with the result. Oh yes, and now I remember, I didn't put any gesso on the stars first. There was no problem whatsoever. The acrylic paint was fine, just straight onto the ceramic. I think they have been fired. So I'm just repeating the same thing on the other side. You can see how reflective it is in the studio lights, and I do quite like how it turned out. The whole kit itself is actually pretty good. I think I paid about $10 or $12 for it at Target Australia, and it'll probably be on sale after Christmas, but that's okay. It's a decent enough craft kit for the money. Although of course I am adding my own paints on top, so that does add a little more value to it. And now I'm going over the top with some silver stars, adding in some thicker ones and then thinner ones with the paintbrush, making sure to do some on the sides to give it a full 3D effect so that you can look at the star on any side and there's decoration. Repeating this on the other side once the first one had fully dried. I did consider using white paint for the stars, but I just decided the silver would be more fun. It also gives a slightly 3D effect because you can see that pearl sitting up. And then I'm covering everything with a thick coat of polyurethane gloss. I mixed in a little bit of glitter, which is in a translucent mix but has a rainbow glittery effect. It's so pretty, and it worked out really well in the end. Moving on to my next star, I decided I wanted a bright red one, so I'm using golden open acrylic in Naphthol red. It's such a gorgeous colour, and I painted the entire star just with a flat layer of it. I did paint a second coat over the top, but I did that off camera. It just made it a bit more uniform as the first layer was a slight bit patchy, and there's me trying to get paint on the inside as well so that there's no clay showing. I was thinking of candy canes, which is where this idea came from. So once I'd painted it on, here's that beautiful gold pen going over the top of everything. There was also a bit of a line on this particular star, so I used the pen to go over it and hide that a bit. It's such a beautiful shiny gold, and they're really high quality pens. I was very happy with that, because it's a relatively cheap craft kit, but they actually had quality products in it. The ceramic stars and Christmas trees were of a decent quality too, although like I said, this one had a slight flaw in it. It's no big deal, I just paint over the top. So I drew the lines the whole way around the star, made a bit of a mess because a couple of them didn't line up quite as well as I would have liked. One side of the star is definitely much better than the other, but it's not too noticeable. Once all of the stripes had dried, which didn't take very long, I added in some dots of gold glitter paint here, just keeping with the simple dot design, but I really like how the whole pattern turned out, and it's pretty much a duochromatic piece with the red and the gold. I find sometimes that doing a simple pattern is actually more effective than doing things that are really complicated, like adding too many colours or too many designs. Plus it's the end of the year and I'm pretty tired, so simple is all I can manage at the moment. But adding the gloss coat over the top of this one really finished it off, and I'm so happy with the red star. That gold pen is gorgeous and I'll definitely be using that for other projects. So I'll just finish this one up here and then we'll move on to my next one. I've run out of stars, so we're on to Christmas trees. For some reason I decided one of my trees was going to be entirely blue, and I did consider doing a gradient from light to dark, which you can see I started here, but in the end I actually did paint over the entire thing just with the ultramarine blue because the teal was a little more opaque and it just wasn't giving me quite the right feel. Also, I wanted to add on some silver, and the darker blue is just going to look really good with that bright silver on it. It'll change in a moment to an entirely ultramarine tree. Here we go. I'm using that black pen to colour in the base. It's the only time I use the black pen in this entire project. Here's that gorgeous silver pen. It's so bright, and I did kind of a similar design to the red star but with wavy lines, pretty much continuing the pattern the entire way around the tree. And here's me colouring in the back of it once everything had fully dried on the front. That black pen is almost like an enamel paint because it stayed really shiny. And then of course I have a bottle of silver glitter paint, so I'm doing dots all over this one as well. I think this one was my most basic ornament out of the four of them, but I do really like how it looks. It's so shiny, and once it's on my Christmas tree, it does reflect off the lights quite well. I might have to get more ornaments next year or sometime in the future and maybe do some slightly more complicated designs. I did think at one stage to paint mini masterpieces on it, but nope, I'm just using the silver pen to draw in a design on the base and then covering the whole thing in polyurethane just like I did with the others because they always look nicer when they're shiny. And one last one to do, another Christmas tree. I thought I'd go a bit more realistic here, so I'm painting in a tree trunk, and then we are going in with a green tree. I'm using a Viridian green just to paint everything, and I did a couple of layers of that just to make sure nothing was patchy. I thought it would be fun to paint this as an actual Christmas tree, fully decorated and everything, with a little tree trunk. I think that was burnt sienna if I'm not mistaken. This was a fun and relaxing project, probably suitable for all ages, and you could paint anything you like on them. I just thought I'd go for a more realistic looking Christmas tree, complete with gold and silver decorations on it, and I used the gold to decorate the bottom of the tree. I definitely used the most colours on this particular decoration. I've got most of a rainbow of colours here in my liquid pearls, just dotting them on randomly over the tree, and I like how this turned out a lot, like they're twinkling lights. They all have a metallic sheen to them as well. I was also going around the sides once again just to give it more of a all-rounder look, and then I was adding some of that clear glitter onto it as well, following the entire design around to the back of the tree, which was quite confusing, but I managed to get there eventually. I really love these pens. I hope they don't dry out and are difficult to reactivate. Oh dear, I made a bit more of a mess on this side, I'm afraid. I managed to smudge the paint a little bit. Never mind, we'll just cover it up with more dots of paint. So, have you been decorating anything this holiday season? I tried baking and decorating cookies one year. That did not go very well. Unfortunately, my artistic ability does not translate over to baking. But these actually look pretty good to eat, though I don't know that polyurethane coating would be very tasty, or the ceramic for that matter. So I'll just finish this one up and then I'll show you all 4 decorations once they are fully dried. So firstly we have the Christmas star. I actually really like this one. It's a simple design, but as I was thinking, simple usually tends to be better. It's not perfect, there are a few wobbly bits, but I guess that's what makes it look handmade. And the gloss has worked really well on here. This side's the worst side, so I think I'll be hanging it out in this direction because that looks a lot better. And I also did a similar design with the blue Christmas tree. Don't know why I painted it blue, but I actually really like it. And I think this one's turned out really pretty as well. It's picking up the light very well, so I'm happy about that. Then I have the more elaborate Christmas tree. I think this one's probably my favourite out of all of them. That green viridian has gone really dark and it looks lovely. I did make a small boo-boo on the back here, so once again this will be hanging towards the tree so that it can't be seen. Last up is my galaxy. It actually worked out okay mixing some of that glitter paint in with the gloss, because now it's like those are tiny little stars and then I have the bigger stars in front. This one's kind of okay. It's a bit too shiny or something. I don't know if I care for the metallic look that much, but it's alright, I guess. I think these 3 look like a really cohesive set, and this one's kind of an odd guy out, but it's alright. All of my decorations on the tree are mismatched anyway, so it's going to add to the fun. I'm not really feeling this particularly with the ornaments, so I think I'm actually going to swap it out for some recycled ribbon. There we go, they look alright. Let's go hang them on the tree. So I think the red one looks the best on the tree. It's really standing out. Could be because it's got the most light from the window as well. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. It was fun making some simple ornaments for my very laden tree. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and click that subscribe button. And I will see you all again really soon in my next video. I hope you're having a great day out there. Swatch you later. Bye!